What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and today we got an announcement post about the next update in FEH, about the new weapon refines and the upcoming Ephemera manuals. So I'll be talking all about that in this video. So let us take a look at the weapon refines other than SELIPH and FREYJA that we did know about from the FEH channel. So Echidna is getting a weapon refine. Honestly, I'd expected her weapon refine to come in September because Ced was in the line first. So she jumped the queue a bit. And she's getting her weapon refine. I really hope that she gets a weapon refine that's at least like a side grade of Arcane Downfall. And I'm kind of nervous about her weapon refine after what happened to Ross. So I hope that she gets a good weapon refine, and getting some kind of true damage would be really helpful to Echidna because her damage output is not really all that high. Even back in the days when people used to build her up quite a lot, her lackluster damage output was point of concern. So I hope they can do something to improve her damage output, and Echidna is one of those units that a lot of people have built up. So I really hope that her weapon refine doesn't get screwed up. The Grail refine of this batch is going to be Travant, and honestly if they just copy paste Cormac's weapon refine, that would be perfect with a stat spread, but I know that's not going to be happening. But something similar would be really good because Travant is slow, so having some kind of guaranteed follow-up attack would be good. And if he gets damage reduction or flat damage reduction based on his defense, that would be just the ultimate thing. Unfortunately, unlike Cormac, he doesn't really have a slaying lance, so he's not going to be having a -1 special cooldown weapon, but they could definitely give him something really stacked as we have seen before with Cormac, and that would make him a lot better with Thracia King Lance. Kinda surprised that he's not getting Gungnir as his preferred weapon, but yeah, looking forward to what they do with his weapon refine because it's a clear Grandeur Battle Lance Flyer stat line, so they can definitely do a lot of things to make it better. And then we also have a weapon refine for Ced, who got really shafted with his introduction in FEH. Ced is such a busted unit in FE4 and he needs everything that he can throw at him in his weapon refine to make him busted. Like magical null follow up, I'm talking like phantom speed, +20 speed, anything like that. So as someone who really likes Ced, I really hope that they make his weapon refine busted to reflect on how he actually is in his game, because he's amazing and they just gave him such an underwhelming weapon. As a green mage, he's going to be competing with a lot of other mages, a lot of legendary mages. We even have Citrine right now as an amazing green mage nuke. And when it comes to being a fast infantry mage, we of course have stuff like legendary Celica, who did get a really good refine and remix, and also Aether, who recently got released, who has a lot of supportive capabilities. So he's going to be competing with all of that. So he definitely needs a lot. And then we've got Mareeta getting her weapon refine. She does have -1 special cooldown in her weapon, and also null follow-up, full null follow-up, which is really good. So they can try and make her kind of like Ascended Mareeta and maybe give her like Time Pulse 4 in her weapon refine. That could be something that they could play around with. Or maybe give her phantom speed and damage reduction that's based on speed so that she can function as a goat sword. But yeah, there's just too much competition, and we also have Brave Mart's weapon refine coming up next month. So it is going to be a pretty tall order for Mareeta to not only compete with like the weapon refines that are going to be coming up for many of these sword infantry units, but also with the god swords that we have got, and we just keep getting them very fast this year. So that is going to be pretty hard for her to compete, but having full null follow-up in her weapon is definitely a pretty good starting point, but does need quite a lot. And the seasonal refine of this batch is going to be Spring Est. She does have a pretty basic weapon which does have debuff neutralization, which has actually become not the greatest effect because you cannot stack up grand strategy with it, and Legendary Male Robin is easily one of the best support units in the entire game. So I would actually really like it if they replace the debuff neutralization with like a Spectrum Unity effect, and then she could stack up the Unity skills, and that would be just perfect for her playstyle. If they give her half null follow-up, that would be pretty good because mage flyers don't really have easy access to those kinds of flow skills. So getting that would be at least bare minimum in my opinion for her weapon refine. But I would be really excited if they actually changed up the debuff neutralization to like Unity skill, and that would be perfect because Unity stacking is so much fun and can just take the ceiling of the unit so much higher than just, you know, debuff neutralization with Legendary Male Robin and Unity skills, which is just really good, as we have seen before on someone like Cynthia, for example. So that is the weapon refines that we're going to be getting this month, and we also have the remix for Legendary SELIPH and FREYJA, which we did see in the FEH channel. So he's going to be getting Distant Ferocity for his Thought skill, which is perfect for the enemy phase shenanigans that he's going to be doing with Holy Wars N2. So now Holy Wars N2 gives the -5 attack and defense debuff on the foe, gives him the guaranteed follow-up attack, gives him the follow-up negation effect, and also gives him the enemy phase brave effect, which is definitely really good. But this is not going to be enough, even though this is really good. I hope that his weapon has got something that can give him some true damage or some kind of damage reduction piercing. Even if he can just have the damage reduction with his hits, that would be really good, because damage reduction is what can stop these kinds of brave effects in their tracks. And especially if he doesn't kill in 2 hits, then he's going to be susceptible to null follow-up, and then he's probably just going to be dying. So that's something that already happens to Legendary SELIPH quite a lot, and they are pretty much replacing the enemy phase desperation with the brave effect. So I really like his remix, and I hope that his weapon refine can give him some kind of damage reduction piercing, or maybe, you know, at the very least some kind of true damage that Legendary Leaf got, so that can at least make it better with the brave hits. Then we've got Freya, who's pretty much the worst light mythic in the game right now, because she doesn't provide any kind of support, and even as a combat mythic she doesn't really do too much. So Binding Necklace Plus is going to be her remix, which does remove the condition to transform and does a Phantom Speed 1.5 built in, gives her some stats in the combat and also debuffs the opponent, and also has the Null Guard built in, which is really good. Kind of wish that she got Kanto somewhere here, because that is like really high value for Aether Raids offense in my opinion. Even with Kanto control being a thing, having Kanto would have been really good if she got like Alarm attack speed. Maybe she could have, you know, Kanto built in her weapon refine. That could be something. And she gets Speed Smoke 4 as her remix skill. So they're pretty much doubling down on her mix phase so that she can function with her distant counter weapon. And she would definitely need a full null follow-up. And it's not like that's like an unheard skill on a Beast Cavalier. We have seen that on Newer Selkie, on Newer Leith. So surely they can give her like full null follow-up and maybe another Phantom Speed. That would be amazing if they do that. And she already has distant counter in her weapon. So things like that could make her a lot better. And there hasn't really been any kind of flat damage reduction that scales off the speed. There's only like speed-based damage reduction that is pierceable. So if they give her like flat damage reduction, that would be pretty insane. If they do want to commit to like the mixed phase play style and want to make her like tank stuff, because she definitely needs a lot of help for tanking the modern threats that we have right now. And functioning as a combat mythic unit is not the worst thing. It's just that you need to be a really good combat mythic unit, like Goto for example. So her remix is pretty decent, and her weapon refine I hope can save her. Next month we should be having a weapon refine for Itsuki, who is also a very popular merch project, and Spring Fur is in the next lineup to get the weapon refine as a seasonal unit. And I think that Hell and Mirabilis are going to be getting their remix and refine, because they are scheduled to be run in September, and they are the only remix units available that we have in the September pool. And don't forget that September is when we get the Chooser Legends weapon refines. So all of the Chooser Legends 5 units are going to be getting their weapon refines in Brave Erika, Brave Marth, Brave Marianne, and Brave Gatekeepers. So if you're a big fan of them, then you should be looking forward to the weapon refines that we're going to be getting next month. And we also have some Ephemera manuals, and we're getting free Dive Bomb, which is really amazing, and also Heavy Blade 4, which is not really all that good, because meeting Heavy Blade chicks as it is pretty shaky at the moment with how high attack stats can get. But still, this could be a pretty nice skill for the Gale Force players, I suppose, and Dive Bomb could also be a nice option for many of the flyers. But ultimately, I think that for many of the flyers, they can run Guard Bearing 4 as a pretty good slot-based skill. But if your flyer doesn't really have much defenses, then this is definitely going to be an option that you can run. And then we have Pirate Surtr providing Defenseless Ideal 4 and also Crafty Fighter 3. So maybe we're going to be getting Crafty Fighter 4 soon, which is kind of how we got Lull Attack Defense on Summer Freyja, and then we saw Lull Attack Defense 4 on actual Freyja. So maybe Crafty Fighter 4 is coming up, so that could be helpful. And Defenseless Ideal 4 is decent skill, but there are better defensive skills on many of the tanks that you can run, like Distant Defense 4 or the Tier 4 stance skills, for example, that not only provide you with the extra stats defensively, but also provide you with another effect, which is really helpful. So it's a decent skill if you can fodder off Valentine Lissa or like Vigard for the prerequisite and get both of these skills at the same time. We also have Valentine Effie as part of the Ephemera manual lineup, And she does provide Petalfall Vase Plus, which is pretty much the best inevitable axe in my opinion, if you don't have access to Arcane Downfall as a fast unit, because it does provide you with full null follow-up, which is really good. And she herself is a pretty amazing axe infantry unit, but of course you do need Arcane Downfall and stuff like Godlike Reflexes at high investment to make her really shine compared to a lot of the other units that have a preferred weapon. And then we have Fila providing Pegasus Flight. We do have Pegasus Flight 4, but overall I do think that Guard Bearing 4 is just better, as he's thought to be skilled for many of the flyers instead of trying to run Pegasus Flight. But still, if you have her as a merge project, then she can function with Pegasus Flight 4 or even Guard Bearing 4 if you do have it. And then we have got Tatiana providing Stance 2, which is helpful for the prerequisite if you're trying to fodder off the tier 3 version of the skill with maybe something else like from Ronan for example. And then we have got Soleil providing Blazing Wind and Drive Resistance. Blazing Wind is pretty much the best AoE special, so it's pretty good to have on a combat manual. And then finally we have Tsubaki providing Quick Repose 2 and Swap, which is not the greatest. Overall, this is a pretty decent lineup, and as for the other things, as we saw in the FEH channel, 17 5-star units are going to be added into the weekly revival, and they can appear as a 4-star special hero summon rate, which is pretty good. And they're going to be adding a hero check button. I'm not sure why they didn't show this in the FEH channel, because it's absolutely amazing quality of life change. So basically, like in the summon itself, you can check for which units are the focus units, which does help in like legendary banners and like double special heroes banners, because sometimes you can just space out and forget what kind of other units are color sharing. So that happens to me a lot when I'm like reading questions for my summoning videos, and I know it happens to many people as well. So this doesn't mean that you can check what heroes are going to be in the stones. It pretty much means that you can check the heroes and the focus units that are available on that banner, which is definitely a really good quality of life change as someone who does forget, you know, what exactly banner am I summoning on while I read the questions. And they're going to be having some other changes as well. They're going to be adding the additional maps which we saw in the FEH channel, more memento events, and also more maps for Aether Raids. And Tactics Room is going to be upgradable to level 11. And they're going to be having Belly Rub Sawmi as a stuffed toy in Aether Resort, which is pretty hype. And they're going to be adding Hector's theme from Blazing Blade, and also ID Serenity, which is the theme of Robin from Awakening. So pretty amazing songs that are being added. And I really like how chill ID Serenity is, so I think a lot of people are going to be liking that. And Summoner Duels is also being updated, where the max favor level is going to be 3,400. And then we're going to be getting Murdoch and Summer Male Shez in the Grail pool. And both of these units are actually pretty popular merge projects that people do want to merge up, especially Shez, who has a really good weapon for a free-to-play unit. And as for the other changes, they're going to be fixing the issue with Aether Raids loading screen, where you pretty much get the jump scare that you're in tier 1 and not in the Vault of Heaven, which does spook some people. So they're going to be fixing that. It's definitely a pretty annoying like glitch that they had, so I'm pretty happy that they're fixing it finally, so that we can stop getting the jump scares in Aether Raids every time you open up that game mode. They're also going to be updating the Arena Free Reward Summoning Ticket banner with the units that are going to be in the 4-star Special Hero raid. So a lot of those Book 5 units, you can actually get them now, which is pretty amazing. Like you can get Shinon, who has Deadeye, you can get Irenas or Azel, who do have the dual skills. So all of those units are going to be available in the Arena Free Summon Ticket, which is pretty good. And that is pretty much it for this update. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this update and which weapon refine are you looking forward to the most. So hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment, helps us tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member as well. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes also give me jump scare just like Aether Raids loading screen. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.